It's Tuesday, everybody. That means we tune in. Now, there is a piece, if you have been listening to this very brief meditation where I say, call all of your energy home to your body in this present time. And I had some people comment and they're like, I don't really know what that means. So I just want to address that. To call your spirit, to call your energy home is power energy management. This makes sure that you are creating your life from now and not from the pieces that are in the past. You want to co-create with the universe, with source, with God, whatever speaks to you from the present moment in your body. So, with that said, take a moment and just settle into wherever you are. Always the caveat with the driving, but y'all are smart. So this will probably be the last time I say it. Don't close your eyes while you drive. Take a moment and settle into where you are. If you're sitting and your legs are crossed, uncross your legs. On your next inhale, give yourself a tall spine. And just notice what's happening for you. If your thoughts are racing, allow it. Give them full permission. If you're feeling jumpy, acknowledge it. Maybe even shake it out a little bit. And then I want you to gently guide your attention to your lungs and become aware of how they feel inflating and deflating. See if you can become aware of your feet, how they feel in the shoes you're wearing, how they feel on the floor that you're standing on. Just noticing. And then with your next few breaths, I want you to notice where all the pieces of you are. The pieces of you that are in the past, the parts of you that are in the future, and call them home. Call them home to your body in this present moment. Our entire lives are lived from the now. Make a conscious choice to be fully here. And now as you just breathe your own natural rhythm, I want you to notice what emotions are present in your body. Name them. Write them down. Think them. And then I want you to find where in your body you are experiencing those emotions. And if it feels right to you, offering some gentle touch to those places on your body. Gently guide your attention back to your breath. Maybe even slowing it, drinking deeper, and exhaling more. And just coming to the acceptance of what is. If you closed your eyes, blink some light into your eyes. And just allow yourself to settle in and listen to this amazingness that I'm about to share with you. What we are talking about today is the continuation of what May has been, which is the laws of personal sovereignty. And today's laws are compassionate accountability is an act of self-respect and self-love. Discipline is an act of self-love. And taking responsibility for your own experience is freedom. There's also some responsibility in there, which is why we don't like to do it. So, why compassionate accountability? There's so much focus on perfectionism in our culture There's so much focus on doing it correctly, getting it right, being the best, success, right? And then there's the personal part of your life where you're supposed to be everything to everyone, or, maybe that's not your burden to bear, but it's a lot of people's, right? It's like you've got to be on all the time. You've got to be amazing all the time. Compassionate accountability is an act of self-respect and self-love. When most people begin their healing, when they start down this path, it usually is this long list of things that have happened to them. This is important. These are the wounds. They need your thought. They need your presence. They need your attention so that you can gain the wisdom from them and move through them. Because it's something that happened to you, it can also be a reason why you behave the way that you behave. Now there's that piece. And then there's this other piece where we have been trained since birth to find every flaw that we have and focus on that. Right? We're a culture trained to not notice the things that are fantastic about us. Right? Because somehow we have created this thought process of like, oh, well, that's how it's supposed to be, so we don't celebrate that. If I ask anybody on the street, they can immediately list to me all the reasons why they aren't great, or all of their shortcomings, or whatever, right? If you ask somebody what makes them amazing, what are your strengths? It's really like the one-off that's like, oh, well, this is why. We don't like to speak about that, right? And so it's like this Kanye thing where we're like, this dude saying he's the very, very best. Well, he's actually one of the best, so what's wrong with saying it? Right? Well, look at him. He's like a cautionary tale. Is he? Is anyone's life perfection? Like, is anyone doing this correctly? It's like, well, he's name the things. He lost his mind, blah, blah, blah. And then there's Keanu. Okay. And people are like, he's the best. He's basically our new Jesus. Okay. I don't mean to be sacrilegious. Did I just say sacrilegious? Yes, I did. I don't mean to be sacrilegious, except for that. Yes, I do. It's my favorite thing. But I'm serious. It's this like, you're both the Kanye, okay, and the Keanu. You need to understand the both. They both are the reasons that you're great. Okay. But we are so attuned to understand or be hyper aware of all the things that are wrong with us. And like, well, no wonder, because I'm subpar in whatever myriad of ways that you want to list. This actually keeps us from taking actual accountability for what we do, because we're like, well, we already know that we're awful. So do we really need to go down that path? And we spend so much time berating ourselves that we think accountability needs to go hand in hand with punishment and feeling terrible about ourselves. It doesn't. Accountability for your own actions is one of the most important things you can do to become whole. But it doesn't have to look like what we've been trained to have it look like. It looks like you being the most compassionate version of yourself while also saying, I did this thing and it hurts. Right? That feeling of like, I did this. I hurt someone else. I hurt myself, right? Like I brought this on myself. And it looks like, okay, these are the choices that I made that led up to this. Why did I behave the way I behaved? Not, you are terrible. I'm the worst. Of course I did this. It's, what is the reason why I behaved the way that I behaved? And it's gentle and it's still. This is when you need to sit with yourself. This is how you meet yourself. Okay, we got ourselves into a real pickle. How did we do that? And look, you are already in pain. You are already feeling the pain of the consequence of the thing that you did. We do not need to add suffering. That is a misuse of your energy. So compassionate accountability means you sit still with yourself and you really think through all the reasons you could have done this. None of these reasons include that you're the worst or that you came into this world with a deficit or you deserved it. That's not a thing. But to take actual accountability, which is also to take responsibility for your actions, this is vital because to have self-love, we must first have self-respect. If you don't love yourself, one of the main reasons is you don't respect yourself. Why don't you respect yourself? Well, probably because you're trying to live someone else's life, because you continually self-betray trying to live someone else's life, right? Or because you keep making the same choices that lead you to the same outcome that you don't want. You get to take the time to learn the lessons in the time that you need to learn them. But it can be faster. We love a hack, don't we? We love a shortcut. This is like the shortcut, honestly. Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep seeing the same outcome over and over and over? You can do the thing where you blame and you put it outward. Well, it's because of all these factors and I couldn't possibly, and a lot of those are super valid, right? But to become sovereign, to become empowered, it's, nope, I disempowered myself by making these decisions that were based in fear, scarcity, and shame. And then you sit with yourself. And so we are in such a rush to heal. We are in such a rush to become perfect. We are in such a rush to succeed. Where is the urgency around discipline? Where is the urgency around self-control? Where is the urgency on your own energy management? We keep mistaking spirituality, self-help, and healing as this like antidote to ever feeling pain or have anything else go wrong ever again. That's not a thing. The only thing within your control is your response, right? And if you have all these external things happening to you, right, where you're like, I don't want this. This is where that space between reaction and response is your freedom. Because the reaction will keep you in that same pattern. The response will create an interruption. And then you will make different choices that will bring about different outcomes. Now, we learned life like the world is happening at us, to us. When it's the reverse, we're living our lives we think we're living our lives from the outside in when it's the inside out. One of my favorite Eckhart quotes is, how do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you're having. Your inner world is being reflected to you in your outer world, and it's offering the opportunity to change. That's why it's painful. We don't change the good things because they're comfortable and they feel good. Pain is a gift, right? That discomfort is like, hold on, something has to change here. And then most of us know that part. It's like, something's got to give. This can't keep going on. My favorite thing that people say is, I can't keep doing this. I'm not making fun. I am guilty of this. And it's like, well, you will keep doing it. And you are doing it still, right? Like even that phrase sets up this distorted view, like as if we say that, then all of a sudden it will stop. The question is, why do I keep behaving in a way that keeps bringing this about? Now, if it truly isn't you and it is someone else, then why do you continue to engage with that person, right? See, it's still always you. It's you. You're the drama, okay? You're the drama, you're the joy, you're the wisdom, you are the light. How do you behave in a way that causes you to respect yourself? And maybe we need to start a little sooner. Do you respect yourself? And what would that look like? Maybe there are things that you respect about yourself. Maybe there are things not so much. Now, the things that you are ashamed of, that's a whole different thing. Those are the things that need your light of consciousness on them. Okay? Shame is repression. Shame is in that deep dark, right? We don't want anyone to see. The antidote for this is light and consciousness and being like, this is actually okay because we're going to look at you and we're going to learn from you, and nothing about us goes missing or unnoticed or what? There's nothing about you that's evil. There's nothing about you that's bad. It's your behavior from the things that you think are evil and bad. This is a very important distinction. So the love and light thing, it always gets me, you know? And like, I love my yoga studio with like, I love it so much. I get excited to go every day. But at the end of the class, they're like, the love and light in me sees the love and light in you. And I'm like, where's the shadow, y'all? Like, it all just is. I've said this a million times. I'm sure I will continue to say it. The light doesn't know it's light without the dark. Let's not leave that out. Because that love and light, that is that myth of perfection. That is that myth of that there is this permanent arrival. It's the promised land. It's the Holy Grail, for crying out loud. Be accurate. See it as a whole and see it as information and see it as neutral, for goodness sakes. There's nothing wrong with you. You aren't broken. You have just been through some things. And depending on your lived experience, you've endured an immense amount of emotional pain over a long period of time. That doesn't mean you're broken or irredeemable. None of it. That pain, that discomfort is offering you something. Would you like it to change? Would you like to try something different? And so this is the masculine and feminine working together. Okay, this is the yin and the yang. To have accountability, the way that we've been doing it was purely that unharmonized masculine, the unharmonized patriarchy. Okay, so it was very punitive. It was very harsh. To bring the balance, it's the compassion, right? So you can sit with it and be like, I did this. And you become a safe place to have a conversation with you about what you did do. This is honor. Look, so confession has been a thing since, the Catholics invented it. Thanks for that. But look, this is actually a really important step. The problem came in when they were like, you need to confess to me because I'm the only one that can talk to God. That's not true either. You do need to confess to yourself, to admit it to yourself. I did do this thing. And it definitely caused me some pain. And then it brings up all of the feelings that it brings up when we do something that hurts ourselves or others. It's supposed to. So confession then looks like you sitting with you in the most loving way possible and taking accountability. This is how you learn how to respect yourself. Compassion and accountability means you do not berate. You do not do the thing where like, I'm just the worst. And of course I'm like this. And you get it. I've gone over it. Okay. It looks like witnessing yourself as you really hear what you did and the pain that it caused. And then you go to the most important, the most potent question. Why did I behave the way I did? And what did I learn from it? this whole experience that we're having, none of it was meant for us to be perfect. Okay. Most of my clients, it's like they feel like everybody got the information but them. Like everyone else is doing it. Everyone else seems to be happy, or they're happy. Look at them. Who is them? You never know what's actually going on in someone's life. Mind your business. That's also a really important piece of managing your own energy. Mind your business. Trust me, you're going to need all of your energy just to handle you. Okay? Like I said, you're the drama. And you're also all these amazing things. So it's cool. We all are. So I've talked about perfectionism in a past episode. So go find it because it's good. But I want to talk about it again because we're doing the most human thing right now. Okay? It's not wrong. It's just very human of us. So thank goodness that we are creating a society now where we can talk about mental health, where, I can get on here and say I'm an intuitive healer and people are like, that's a thing. It's normalized, right? But we've moved what we used to do with the perfectionism over to the spirituality or to the self-help. It's just human. Of course you're going to do that. You learned how to do it one way. And so you're like, well, let me see if it works over here. It doesn't. It doesn't work anywhere. The perfection is a myth. It's just a complete myth, except for what happens is, and I watch this all the time, I can see in their eyes, they're like, but I can hit it. It's me. And I'm like, bitch, the rules are not different for you. Sorry, we actually all have the same rules. That's why they're called universal laws. Okay? It's actually pretty great. It's a relief. All right? It's like gravity. We are all under the same laws, under the same rules. Okay? Perfection's a myth. Just repeat it to yourself over and over and over. If this was the only mantra you said, it's going to set you free. So just focus on that. Okay? Instead, where your energy belongs, instead of chasing after something that doesn't exist, it belongs in finding what is actually for you. Right? What do you actually want out of your life? We've spent the last hundreds of years, okay, copy and pasting. Oh, this is how our tribe does it, so this is how I'm going to do it. That's not what we need to do anymore. Did we ever need to do it? Probably. I mean, there's plenty of academic books on tribalism and the reasons why it happened the way it happened, right? And part of it was survival, but we have moved past that. So just to put this into some perspective, when people are like, I did this all on my own. No, you didn't. Okay. There are a lot of people who have to do a lot of things without a ton of support, but you also didn't get up this morning and have to figure out plumbing. You didn't have to get up and figure out refrigeration. All right. Sanitation. Therefore, you have a head start. See what I'm saying? That work has been done. We no longer have to survive in that sense of like, am I going to die today because of some fecal-borne bacteria? No. Our predecessors were asked to fight in wars. Our predecessors were asked to do a lot of things that we have now put up on a pedestal. And part of that is really just the acknowledgement of, you laid the foundation. Thank you. That doesn't mean that we then have to repeat what they did. We build upon it. This is the correct use of your energy. How will you know you're using your energy correctly? You're going to feel energized. You know when you're depleted. But it does take clearing some stuff out of your body so that you can actually tell. And then the better you get at it, the more subtle ways you can then re-empower yourself. discipline was like a 4-letter word to me growing up, because it is yet another word that we have the opportunity to redefine. And what I mean by redefinition is we understand discipline because of the disharmonized masculine, the disharmonized patriarchy. Discipline was something that was used, it was forceful, right? And it was backed by scarcity, fear, and shame. What discipline actually is you understanding that you deserve a certain outcomes, right? And that discipline is actually this way of showing yourself that you respect and value yourself. So discipline applied with self-compassion. Okay, so what this would look like is after the compassionate self-accountability. After the compassionate accountability for self, then you've looked at what your behavior caused. And once you can see that, your pattern, then you can say, oh, this is where I know I need to interrupt it. Any kind of pattern interruption requires discipline. You'll have to stick with it. So discipline applied with self-compassion and self-care shows us that we respect and value ourselves. We are showing ourselves that we know our worth because we're behaving in a way that reflects that. Right? So for example, what was that show? The McDonald's guy that ate McDonald's for 30 days? Yeah. It was a thing, right? And he felt terrible because duh. But it stands that like, if you do that, you are going to feel bad. So if you are constantly doing things that you know make you feel terrible, that's information right there. That shows you that there's some piece of you, or a big piece, that does not value or respect yourself because you don't act in a way that proves to yourself that you deserve to feel good, that you deserve to feel happy and strong and not tired and lethargic all the time, right? So we show ourselves how deserving we are to reach our goals and our dreams by prioritizing our long-term well-being, by acting with consistency and effort. That's discipline. Consistency and effort. Showing up for yourself in this way proves to ourself and to our spirit that we love ourselves, that we respect ourselves. Changing this definition of discipline, or rather it is the energy behind how you use discipline. This makes discipline, effort, and sacrifice a sustainable, balanced, and harmonized practice. This is like crash dieting, okay? When people are harsh with themselves and they restrict, that is the unharmonized discipline. Because what happens? You blow it and you binge or you stop or whatever. When you make the consistent effort because you are doing the work to understand that you are worth the amount of effort and energy it takes to feel good. And don't get it twisted. That is what exercise is. That is what anything that is worth doing is. It's not about how you look because really it's how you feel. Because you are caring for your body and your spirit in a way, should I say it again? That proves to you that you matter. Now, this is one of those fantastic two birds situations, right? If you do this for yourself, guess what that is going to keep you from doing? Seeking external validation. Because you're already proving to yourself that you matter. You're already proving to yourself that you have willpower. You're already proving to yourself that you're deserving of love and care. So then, wouldn't it follow that you will then pick people in your life that reflect that back to you. We actually have all the answers, right? We already know. This is not a secret. There's millions of books written on it. Literally millions, okay? That's why it's the simplest answer and one of the hardest things to execute. And part of that is because we're human and we love to make things way harder than it needs to be. Like I said, we're the drama. So, what are the ways that you want to be disciplined, but aren't? And can you talk to yourself about those in a way that isn't demeaning, that isn't even self-deprecating? Can you find out what those things are through the lens of curiosity? Become that data collector. And just look at it as information. Oh, this is the reason I behave the way I behave. Great. All I needed was the information. I don't need to suffer. The information is painful enough, guys. That's all that's required. Pain is not an option. Suffering is. You need your energy. Stop suffering. That one's up to you. You can stop today. Will you do it again? Yes, because it's a pattern. Interrupt it as often as possible. All right. So the third law is taking responsibility for your own experience is freedom. Radical responsibility. Now, I've had a lot of responsibility from a really young age. And so when I came into adulthood, I was like, responsibility, no thank you. Right? Because there was an imbalance there. I had had too much as a kid. And so responsibility became yet another 4-letter word. I didn't want it. And this is really common, right? I'm in really good company. So the radical part is something happened to me, but now that I'm an adult, it is my responsibility to heal it. And it's my opportunity. As children, we are not in control of our own lives. We are not fully empowered, or in a lot of cases, not empowered at all. The medicine for this is to become empowered, to take the control back, the only control you have, which is over yourself. So radical responsibility is, I am responsible for my own experience. I can't remember who said this, but I want to say Eleanor Roosevelt. Let's go with it. Let's say Eleanor said this. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. This is radical responsibility for your own experience. Okay. So being compassionately accountable for your mistakes allows the pain to be clean. That is to say, not suffering. Then you feel and tend to it without shame so that we can actually learn from that experience. Then we add in self-forgiveness. This encourages personal responsibility and positive change. Okay, this is the difference between consequences and punishment. A consequence is kind of neutral. It's cause and consequence. It's just what happens. If you can allow the pain to wake you up to it, be like, oh, that pain is all I needed to feel. Now it's time to take responsibility, right? Through that compassionate accountability for yourself. And then say, nothing happens to me, it happens for me. And in any given situation, if I feel like my power is being taken from me, it is this quick adjustment of no one can take my power from me. So I'm giving it. The combination of these 3 laws will help you it'll help you build the resilience, but then all of a sudden you will have this deep reservoir of that resilience. And all of a sudden you are not triggered by the tiniest thing because you have done the work. I love that, right? Are you doing the work? Yeah, I'm doing the work. Are you doing the work? Yes. We don't define it. That's what we're doing here. So if you find yourself complaining a lot, if you find yourself being disempowered by others, you get to gently say to yourself, I'm going to be radically responsible, and I'm going to take responsibility for my own experience. If you aren't happy, that's on you. Right? And that's just like, I'm just putting it bluntly. Because if you are unhappy, then you need to take yourself out of that situation. I'm not trying to minimize how hard it is. It's the hardest thing to choose yourself. Selfishness is another thing that got totally misconstrued, right? But that's tribalism. The tribe is like, we need you to give your all to the group. So selfishness was super discouraged, when really it's not selfishness. It's discernment. No, that's not for me. Or I'm depleted. I'm going to have to tend to myself. This is the oxygen mask on you first on the airplane. Okay. Remember, we are living our lives from the inside out, not the outside in. Compassionate accountability for the self is an act of self-respect and love. Discipline is an act of self-love. Taking responsibility for your own experience is freedom. All of these things are going to get you the life that you have always wanted. All of these laws, really, it's like they say everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of mastering these laws. Because that is the mastery of self, or the mastery of your power, the mastery of your energy. You can find me on Instagram at Maykel Reese. You can find me on TikTok at Maykel C. Reese. You can find me on YouTube, either the Sovereign Soul Podcast or Maykel Reese. Have I said my name enough? You're welcome. Have a wonderful week and keep being gentle with yourself.